You tell yourself you've moved on. You tell yourself it's over. But late at night, when everything is quiet, their face shows up again. Not because you invited it, not because you want it, but because your mind drags them back. That one memory, that one sentence, that one way they looked at you, it replays like a broken record. And you hate it. You hate that the person who hurt you still has a seat in your mind. You hate that even though you're done with them, they're not done haunting you. And part of you wonders, why? Why does your brain hold on to the very person you wish you could forget? Why is it so hard to let go of someone who caused so much pain? It feels unfair. You've tried distracting yourself, tried forcing your thoughts elsewhere, tried drowning yourself in work, friends, or even silence, but still, they sneak back in. They interrupt your peace like an unwanted guest. And the cruelest part, sometimes you don't even remember the whole person, you just remember fragments. A smile, a scent, a song, a phrase. And in those fragments, it feels like the wound never fully closed. You might even tell yourself, I should be over this by now. Normal people move on, why can't I? And that thought alone makes you feel stuck, like something's wrong with you. But here's the truth you need to hear. Nothing is wrong with you. Your mind is not broken. Your heart is not weak. You are not obsessed, and you are not pathetic for remembering. You are human, and what you're experiencing is not a failure. It's psychology. Your brain is wired to cling to certain experiences, and especially to certain people. And the ones who hurt you often end up being the hardest to release. Not because you love the pain, but because the pain is what your brain remembers most. You see, the mind doesn't just archive memories like files in a cabinet. It doesn't simply save moments and let you pull them out when you feel like it. No, your brain prioritizes what feels intense, what feels threatening, what feels like it could change your survival. And when someone hurts you deeply, when they betray you, abandon you, or reject you, that intensity brands itself into your nervous system. It's not just emotional, it's chemical. Your body releases stress hormones during heartbreak, during conflict, during loss. And those chemicals act like glue. They make those memories stick far longer than the gentle, happy moments ever could. That's why you don't lie awake at night, replaying a random Tuesday when everything was fine. You lie awake, replaying the argument, the silence, the betrayal. Because pain leaves sharper grooves in your mind than peace. And this is why that person, the one who hurt you, still feels alive in your head. They triggered survival level responses in you. Your brain thought, this mattered. This could kill me emotionally. I can't forget this. And so it held on, not because you want it, not because you deserve it, but because it thinks it's protecting you. But here's the paradox. The more you try to fight those thoughts, the more they fight back. Think of it like quicksand. The harder you struggle, the deeper you sink. When you tell yourself, don't think about them, don't think about them, you actually prime your brain to do exactly that, because your focus is still on them. And so you end up in a cycle. You remember, you resist, you remember harder. That's why months or even years later, you might still feel ambushed by them in your mind. And yet, if you're listening to this right now, there's something powerful inside you. Because part of you knows that this isn't the life you want. You don't want to keep living with ghosts. You don't want your peace invaded by a person who no longer deserves space in your story. And that awareness is where everything begins. Because once you see the psychology of what's happening, you can stop blaming yourself and start reclaiming control. Think about it. When you break a bone, you don't get angry at yourself for needing time to heal. You don't call yourself weak for not running the next day. You understand that your body needs time, treatment, and care. Heartbreak, betrayal, loss. It's no different. These are emotional injuries and intrusive thoughts. They are the mental bruises that show where you've been hit the hardest. But unlike physical wounds, emotional ones don't heal automatically. They heal when you give your mind what it truly needs. Permission to process, permission to feel, and permission to release. This is the part most people get wrong. You've been taught to just move on, to let it go, to to stop thinking about it. But no one teaches you how. And so you sit in silence, blaming yourself for what your brain is wired to do. That's why you're here now, because deep down you want the how. You want to know how to stop the cycle, how to quiet the noise, how to finally let go without feeling like you're losing yourself in the process. And that's exactly what you're going to uncover. Step by step, you'll learn why your brain holds on so tightly, and more importantly, how to teach it to loosen its grip. You'll see that the person in your head isn't some sign that you're broken, it's a reflection of wounds that need acknowledgement, not avoidance. And when you give those wounds what they need, the ghost loses its power. Because here's the truth you may not have believed until now. The one who hurt you may still live in your head today, but they don't have to live there forever. You've probably noticed something. When the thought of them appears, it's never neutral. It doesn't float in like a random memory of an old school class or a movie you once saw. No, it arrives with weight. It stirs your chest, tightens your throat, maybe even makes your stomach drop. That's because these thoughts aren't just mental, they're physical. They live in your body as much as in your head. The memory of hurt sits in your nervous system, woven into the way your body prepares for threat. This is why you can be doing fine, laughing with friends, busy with work, scrolling through your phone, and then suddenly, without warning, the past hijacks you. Your chest heats up, your heart races, your mind spirals, and you think, why now? Why is this hitting me out of nowhere? But it's not nowhere. Something triggered it. A song, a face, a smell, a phrase, maybe even a silence, and your nervous system said, danger. This reminds me of when I was hurt, and just like that, the ghost comes alive again. It's almost cruel how it works. Your brain thinks it's keeping you safe. It thinks by replaying what happened, by reminding you of how you were hurt, it's protecting you from being hurt again. It's like your mind has this twisted idea, if I keep this pain close, you won't forget it. And if you don't forget it, you won't repeat it. But here's the trap. You end up reliving the wound without any new outcome. You're not being protected, you're being held prisoner. And if you're honest with yourself, you've probably noticed how this prison steals from you. You lose focus at work. You feel emotionally drained around people who care about you. You start doubting yourself, wondering if you'll ever be free. Sometimes you even sabotage new connections because part of you is still comparing everything to the past. That's the invisible cost of letting someone who hurt you live rent-free in your head. They don't just take up memory, they take up energy, joy, peace, and presence. But the question is, how do you stop? How do you break free from a cycle your brain insists on repeating? You don't do it by force. You don't do it by screaming at yourself to stop thinking. And you don't do it by pretending you're over it when you're not. You do it by facing the truth directly. And the truth is this: your mind clings to unresolved experiences. Think about it. When a story has no ending, you replay it in your head. When a song cuts off mid-chorus, you hum it all day, waiting for closure. When a conversation ends abruptly, you replay what you could have said. Your brain craves completion, and heartbreak, betrayal, rejection. They almost never come with clean endings. They leave questions unanswered, words unsaid, emotions unexpressed. And because of that, your mind loops them again and again, trying to finish what was left unfinished. That's why, even if you logically know it's over, you don't feel like it's over. Your body still waits for resolution. Your heart still waits for acknowledgement. And so you keep revisiting the scene of the pain, hoping maybe this time your brain will figure out the missing piece. But it never does. Because closure doesn't come from replaying, it comes from releasing. And release doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you stop fighting your thoughts and start listening to them. That doesn't mean you accept every memory as true. It doesn't mean you let the ghost dictate your present. It means you recognize what the thought is really asking. See me, understand me, then let me go. Because intrusive thoughts are often unprocessed emotions in disguise. They knock on the door of your mind, not because they want to stay forever, but because they were never allowed in properly in the first place. So what does this look like in practice? It looks like permission. Permission to feel what you've avoided. Permission to sit with the discomfort instead of pushing it away. Permission to admit, yes, I was hurt. Yes, this mattered. Yes, this scar shaped me. Because the moment you give yourself that honesty, the thought begins to lose its sharpness. The ghost starts to fade. You might fear that if you give space to these feelings, they'll consume you, that if you open the door, the pain will swallow you whole. But the opposite is true. What you resist persists. What you face transforms. When you finally let yourself feel the grief, the anger, the disappointment, not as an endless replay, but as a conscious acknowledgement, you give your mind the signal it's been waiting for. This is processed, this is complete, and once your mind has that closure, the grip begins to loosen. Think about it like this. Imagine carrying a heavy box around every single day. You never open it, you just drag it everywhere. It weighs you down, exhausts you, limits your movement. That's what unprocessed pain is. But the moment you set the box down and look inside, yes, it's hard, yes, it's emotional, but it also frees you, because now you're not carrying the unknown weight. You know what's there, you've faced it, and after you face it, you can finally put it down. This is why letting go is never about forgetting. It's not about erasing the past, or pretending it never happened. It's about integration. It's about letting the experience take its place as part of your history, without letting it dominate your present. You don't let go by force. You let go by finally giving your mind the closure it's been chasing through intrusive thoughts. And here's the part that changes everything. Closure doesn't require the person who hurt you to apologize, explain, or give you what they never gave you. Because if you wait for that, you'll wait forever. Closure is something you create inside yourself. It's the moment you stop demanding that the past turn out differently, and instead accept what happened as it is. That acceptance is not approval. It's not saying it was okay. It's not saying they were right. It's saying, it happened, I survived, and I will no longer carry this weight as my identity. When you reach that space, something shifts. The thoughts still come, but they feel lighter. They lose their sting. They visit, but they don't stay. And over time, they show up less and less, until one day, you notice you can hear that song, see that place, smell that scent, and your body doesn't flinch, your chest doesn't tighten, the ghost has no power anymore. And this is what freedom looks like. Not a perfect memory wipe, not a world where you never remember them again, but a world where the memory no longer controls you. A world where you can breathe fully in the present without being dragged backward. A world where the person who hurt you no longer lives in your head, not because they've disappeared, but because you've reclaimed the space they once occupied. You've carried this weight long enough. And maybe after everything you've been through, you're wondering if freedom is even possible. You've heard people say, time heals all wounds, but time alone hasn't healed you. You've waited, distracted yourself, tried to forget, and yet here they still are showing up in your thoughts. That's because healing isn't passive. It doesn't just happen by waiting. It happens by choosing. And now if you want that space in your mind back, it's time to make those choices. The first choice is awareness. Most people let their intrusive thoughts run wild without even noticing the patterns. But you can't change what you don't see. So when that person comes into your mind, don't immediately fight it or push it away. Just pause, notice it, name it. Say to yourself, this is a memory. This is my brain bringing up the past. This is not my reality right now. By naming it, you create separation between you and the thought. You stop fusing with it as though it's happening again. Instead, you begin to witness it. The second choice is compassion. This is where most people go wrong. They attack themselves for remembering. They say, why am I so weak? Why can't I move on? But all that does is deepen the wound. What if instead of judgment, you gave yourself kindness? What if when the thought appeared, you said, of course I'm remembering. I went through something painful. My mind is trying to protect me. I'm human. Do you see the difference? Judgment keeps you stuck. Compassion opens the door to healing. Because when you stop fighting yourself, your nervous system calms. And when your nervous system calms, the thought loses its grip. The third choice is expression. If you leave the pain in your head, it festers. It spins endlessly in circles. But when you give it an outlet, it starts to move. That outlet could be journaling, speaking to a trusted friend, working with a therapist, or even talking out loud to yourself in a private space. The point is not to perform, it's to release, to say the words you never said, to write the feelings you never expressed, to let the unspoken come out into the open. Because when you do, the loop in your mind finally finds closure. And here's the powerful part. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment or for the intrusive thought to attack you. You can choose to sit down intentionally, face the memory, and express it fully. Write them a letter you'll never send. Pour out the anger, the grief, the longing, the betrayal. Say everything you've been holding back. And then when you've emptied it all onto the page, you can decide what to do with it. Burn it, tear it up, save it, whatever feels like release. What matters is that you've stopped carrying it locked inside your chest. The fourth choice is redirection. Not suppression, but redirection. Think of your mind like a child pulling at your sleeve, begging for attention. If you only say stop it, the child tugs harder. But if you say I see you, now let's go do something else, the child follows. Your thoughts work the same way. After you've noticed them, given them compassion, maybe even expressed them, you don't have to stay there. You can choose where to place your focus. That might mean going for a walk, creating something, practicing gratitude, or immersing yourself in something meaningful. The key is intentional redirection, not running away, but guiding your energy towards something that nurtures you instead of drains you. The fifth choice is rewriting the story. Right now, your brain may hold on to the hurt because it's unfinished, unresolved, or because it means something about you. Maybe you tell yourself, they left because I wasn't enough, or I can't trust anyone again because of what they did, or this pain defines me. But here's the truth. The story you attach to the memory determines how much power it has. If the story is rooted in shame or fear, you'll relive it forever. But if you rewrite it, you reclaim it. That doesn't mean pretending it was good. It means reframing it as part of your growth. Instead of, they left because I wasn't enough, the story becomes, their leaving revealed what I deserve. Instead of, this ruined me, it becomes, this shaped me into someone stronger, wiser, more self-aware. By rewriting the story, you turn the memory from a prison into a stepping stone. And the final choice is presence. Because no matter how painful the past was, your life isn't happening back there. Your life is happening now. Every moment you spend trapped in their ghost is a moment stolen from what's in front of you. So begin practicing presence. Notice the way your coffee smells in the morning. Notice the texture of your sheets when you wake up. Notice the sound of laughter, the warmth of sunlight, the rhythm of your own breath. These aren't small things. They are anchors. Anchors that remind you, I am here. I am alive. I am not in the past anymore. And the more you root yourself in presence, the less power the ghost of the past holds. All of these choices, awareness, compassion, expression, redirection, rewriting, and presence, are not quick fixes. They're not magic tricks that erase the memory overnight, but they are tools that over time retrain your brain. Remember, your intrusive thoughts are like deep grooves carved into your mind. Every time you revisit them, the groove deepens. But every time you make a new choice, you carve a new path. And the more you walk the new path, the more natural it becomes. Until eventually the old grooves fade, and your mind takes the new direction with ease. And here's something important to understand. Letting go doesn't mean losing the good. Sometimes you fear that if you release the person, you'll also lose the parts of yourself you found with them. But letting go doesn't erase your growth. It doesn't erase the lessons, the love, the strength you discovered. Those stay with you. What you let go of is the pain, the obsession, the power they hold over your present. You're not losing, you're reclaiming. Imagine your mind like a house. For too long, one room has been occupied by someone who doesn't belong there anymore. You keep opening the door, checking if they're still inside, wondering if they'll ever leave. But here's the truth, you hold the key. You decide who stays, and when you're ready, truly ready, you can open that door, thank the lesson, and ask them to leave. At first, the room feels empty, but soon, it becomes available again for peace, for joy, for someone new, or simply for you. And maybe deep down, that's what you've wanted all along. Not to erase the past, but to finally come home to yourself. To wake up without the ghost in your head. To feel lightness where heaviness once lived. To finally breathe freely without the echo of their voice filling your silence. And you deserve that. You've always deserved that. There comes a moment when you realize something powerful. The person who hurt you doesn't live in your head because you're weak. They live there because your mind tried to protect you, your heart tried to make sense of the wound, and your soul tried to hold on to the parts of you that felt lost when they left. But now, you no longer need protection from a memory. You no longer need to replay the wound to survive. You are here. You made it through. And that realization changes everything. Because letting go isn't about erasing the past. It's about reclaiming the present. It's about no longer letting your thoughts drag you back to a time that isn't real anymore. It's about finally deciding, my peace matters more than their shadow. My joy matters more than their memory. My life matters more than my pain. That shift doesn't happen all at once, but the moment you choose it, you begin to feel it. And when those intrusive thoughts still appear, and yes, sometimes they will, you no longer greet them with panic or despair. Instead, you recognize them for what they are: echoes. Not reality, not prophecy, not identity, just echoes. They may whisper, but they no longer control you. They may visit, but they no longer stay. Because you've done the work, you've faced the feelings, expressed the pain, rewritten the story, and rooted yourself in presence. And with each step, you've built a new home in your own mind. A home where peace can actually live. Think about what it would mean to wake up tomorrow and feel space again in your chest. To sip your coffee and not have your thoughts hijacked. To walk outside and actually see the world, not through the filter of the past, but as it is now. That is possible for you. Not because time magically fixes everything, but because you are choosing to heal, and every choice you make toward awareness, compassion, expression, redirection, rewriting, and presence, every choice is a brick in the foundation of your freedom. And freedom is what you deserve. You deserve to wake up without carrying the ghost of someone else's mistakes. You deserve to love without fear that the past will replay itself. You deserve to sit in silence and feel peace instead of pain. You deserve a mind that is yours again. But here's the truth. Letting go is not a single event. It's a practice. It's a daily decision. Some days will feel easier. Some days will feel heavy. And on those heavy days, you may feel tempted to think you're back at the beginning, but you're not. Healing is not linear. It's not about never falling down. It's about getting up differently each time. The fact that you're even aware, that you're even listening to this, means you're already on the path. And no matter how many times the ghost tries to return, you are stronger than. One day you'll look back and realize the thought that once consumed you has softened into a distant memory. One day you'll realize that the person who hurt you no longer defines the way you see yourself. One day you'll realize you didn't just survive. You became someone wiser, braver, more compassionate. And on that day, you'll thank yourself for not giving up on the work of letting go. Because letting go isn't just about removing someone from your mind. It's about reclaiming your story. It's about realizing that your worth was never tied to how they treated you. It's about standing in front of the mirror and knowing, I am enough. I always have been. I always will be. And when you carry that truth, no ghost can haunt you. No memory can chain you. No past can rob you of the future that belongs to you. So take a deep breath right now. Feel it in your chest. Let it remind you, you are here. Not in the memory, not in the replay, not in the pain. Here, alive, whole, capable of healing. And with every breath, with every choice, you are teaching your mind that the past no longer rules you. You are teaching your heart that peace is safe now. You are teaching your soul that it is free. And maybe the most beautiful part is this. The person who hurt you may never know the impact they had, but they also will never know the power of your healing. They will never know how their ghost tried to linger, but failed. They will never know how you rose above it how you reclaimed yourself, how you built a life where their shadow no longer fits. That victory is yours alone. You don't need their apology. You don't need their validation. You don't need their presence or their approval. What you need is already within you. The courage to release, the strength to rebuild, and the wisdom to carry forward the lessons without carrying the chains. And you have all of that right now. So when you feel that old thought creeping in, remind yourself gently, this is not my reality. This is just a memory, and I choose peace. Say it again and again if you must, because over time, your brain learns what you repeat. It rewires itself to follow your lead, and the more you choose peace, the more natural peace becomes, until eventually you won't even need to remind yourself. It will simply be your way of being, and that's the true end of their presence in your mind. Not erasure, not pretending, not forgetting, but transforming. Transforming the wound into wisdom, the memory into perspective, the ghost into silence. And once that silence comes, you'll realize what's been true all along. You were never powerless. You were never broken. You were always capable of healing. You just needed to remember how. The one who hurt you may still live in your head today, but not forever. You are not their home. You never were. You are your own home, and it's time to return to yourself.